Happy Friday. You know what that means? We are here for Mystery Ghost Stories, and tonight is the season finale of Mystery Ghost Stories. Been a fun run this season. And tonight we are taking a look at investigating Willow's Weep. You could say I saved the best for last, and while this is not particularly hauntings by ghosts, it's definitely haunted by demons. Although maybe there's a couple ghosts in there as well, but definitely a detailed and creepy episode nonetheless. So, without further ado, let us get into Mystery Ghost Stories, Willow's Weep. Now, a brief little rundown for those that don't know what Willow's Weep is. It is said to be, perhaps, one of the most haunted and possessing places in all of America. I say possessing because I was trying to look for another word. It didn't come to me off the top of my head, so I went with possessing. What do I mean by that? I mean by the house. The house itself is probably kind of possessed. I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of evil, a lot of dark energy in there. So let us get into it, shall we? It's nestled in Vermilion County, Indiana. Not exactly the place you'd expect to find the most haunted place in America, but hey, it's always the places you least expect, isn't it? Hundreds of paranormal investigators have been in this home, trying to prove it's a legitimate ghost story. When we spoke with the former owners of the house, they told us there's nothing evil about it, and the new owners are just trying to make money. But now, to tell the other side of that story, Vermilion County town of Eugene, one house is getting a lot of attention. A house that was in the late 1800s is now being called Willow's Weep. In part one of this story, we introduce you to Adam Baird and Haley Navarro. They used to live in the home. This article that I'm reading is obviously it's about two people who obviously lived in Willow's Weep. And the thing, if you Google Willow's Weep, you'll find that it's kind of, is it haunted? Is it not haunted? Basically, they're saying that the people that lived in this house, like the last people to live in this house before the current owner, everything that they said that the place was haunted, it was all a hoax, that they made it all up. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that kind of sounds like Amityville Horror, doesn't it? So maybe it's kind of like the same thing. Although, bear with me here because we're both going to be taking this journey. Because I only have a little bit of knowledge of this place. So let us keep reading and see which side we land on. I know when I lived there, nothing ever happened. Nothing supernatural, Adam told the Crow. Adam and Haley's mother, Cheryl Skinner, suffered a heart attack while living there. Several years later, their stepfather, Kurt Skinner, committed suicide in the home. Okay, wait a minute. You're going to go on public record, probably on camera too, and say that the place you lived in wasn't haunted, and yet your mother-in-law had a heart attack in the home, and again, I want to make sure I got this. Their stepfather committed suicide in the home. All the way, I'm kind of confused here. Adam and Haley's mother. So I guess they're brother and sister? All right, not important. My point is, a woman had a heart attack in the home, and a guy had committed suicide in the home. And you're going to say on public record that the place isn't haunted? Really, buddy? Really? That's what we're going to go with. Okay. That's fine. It's like that meme with the dog sitting in the kitchen at the table. This is fine. And it's really not. Devastating events in their lives, they say, the new owners are making a profit from. They were charging people to come in and haunt my mother, called my mother out by name and my stepfather, Adam said. Okay, so apparently they are brother and sister. Okay. So weird. They were able to track down the newest owner of the house, David Spinks, who is a paranormal investigator for more than 30 years. So Willow's Weep is currently owned by David Spinks. He used to live in West Virginia, but he told the people that he bought the house because he truly believes it's evil. So, if I remember correctly, the documentary that I had seen on History Channel, it actually gives you an aerial view of the house. I probably should have let off with this. The house looks like, from an aerial view, it looks like a backwards cross. So, I mean, you can say that a house isn't haunted, and other people can tell you that it is haunted, but when you take an aerial view of this place and it looks like a freaking backwards cross, I don't care who you are, that shit's haunted. He said he sympathizes with the family. This is David Spinks. He said he sympathizes with the family and he promises to leave the Skinner's name out of anything he does, but says he will continue to investigate the home. So this guy pretty much just wants to get down to the bottom of things. Is the place haunted? Is it evil? Are there spirits? Are there demons? Oh my. But he said he's going to leave the Skinners out of it. So obviously the two people that perished in the home, he's like, you know what, I'll respect you and leave them out. There have been many deaths, factual deaths, some very bizarre, and other suicides that have occurred in this house. And I'm still finding out more into this info on to this day, Spinks told the reporters. The house has so many little nuances. There's a crossroads in the front. There's a major river coming into a town. There are Native American ties and numerous deaths in the house. That's what we look for as investigators, not to mention all the evidence paranormal activity people have captured in this house. So, other people have died in the house. Again, I'm maybe David Spinks said he wouldn't, he wouldn't mention the family, but I'm going to call you people out by name. So, yeah, we're going to get personal here. Adam Baird and Haley Navarro, what are you doing? Like, you don't think we didn't experience anything? We don't think the place is haunted. Two of your relatives died in the home. You must have known that other people died in the house before you bought it, because let's be honest, nowadays when you buy a home, they have to disclose whether or not someone died in the home. So you knew this. Now, if you didn't experience anything, hey, that's great. Kudos to you, but the place is probably haunted. Also, what's this part? There are Native American ties. Oh, have you ever heard of, I don't know, ancient Indian burial ground? Native Americans? Those are those aren't good spirits either. When Native Americans haunt a place, it's not because, they want to sit down and share a cup of tea with you. It's because they probably own that land and you're sitting and living in the very land that they once owned, and they wish to haunt you. And yet you said you didn't experience anything. I think you did experience something, Adam Baird and Haley Navarro, but you just don't want to say it because you don't want to look like pariahs and you don't want to look like the people from Amityville Horror. That's just my take. Let's continue, shall we? From above, the home is shaped like a cross. Spinks claims that's another strange sign. Right? How is it not a sign? That's creepy. He also sent them videos of inside the home. In the video, he says in 2 instances, the door moved on its own. Which door? I'm assuming he means the front door. It just says the door, like I'm supposed to know what that means. He believes there's something very negative lurking in the house. So from the video, again, History Channel, I watched this documentary. I think it was David Spinks. And I'm sure we might come across it, so if you hear this again, I apologize. I'm just telling you firsthand knowledge of what I know. And you walk into the house, and obviously there's no lights on. If you leave the lights off, or even if you turn a light on, it's got a very 70s horror film look to it. If you know what I'm saying, if you know what that terminology means. It's just like the carpet's very dark. It's very stingy looking. It's like the aura is very stingy looking. And then there's um this chair. This I think it's a green or brown chair, and it's off to the side. And the camera always shows it, and it's just got this really creepy vibe. Like all the rooms do. This chair, like it's almost like the chair was there, like the chair carried on through all the people that owned it. And I don't know, like just from watching it on television, I got the creepy vibe. I can't imagine the vibe you'd get if you were actually in there yourself. He said in his decades of investigating, he has never seen a home like this. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna go back. I skipped over something. A man emailed him and said his grandmother used to live in the house back in the 50s, and she experienced paranormal phenomena back then. Dishes would set on the table the night before. When she got up the next morning, they would be all over the floor, just like a tornado went through there. And she would often witness a rocking chair in the house, rocking on its own numerous times over the years. And then he said that he's never seen a home like this. So even in the 50s, this place was haunted. So again, Adam Baird, Haley Navarro, you can sit there and tell yourselves that you didn't experience anything like you want. I think you did. You didn't want to disclose it. And let's move on. Spinks said there is no disrespect intended to the people who have died in the house. He will continue to investigate Willow's Weep and allow other paranormal specialists to do so as well. You may even see the Eugene, Indiana home on the big screen someday. There's a company trying to raise enough money to shoot a movie about the house. So yeah, he's in the documentary. He buys the house from this woman. Apparently, the woman owns the house, and she like wants nothing to do. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of notifications. Um, so this woman wants nothing to do with the house, and he wants to see the house. So she's like, I'm not going in the house. And he's like, fine, like, that's fine. I can investigate the house myself. So him and his team go in. So after he comes back out, he's like, I'm willing to buy the house from you. And again, I'm pretty sure this is David Spinks. And he buys the house. Now, I I didn't get the impression that he wanted to bank off of this house, but reading this article, yeah, they're trying to raise money. There's probably a Kickstarter out there. He's trying to make this into a movie. Surprise, surprise, just like Amityville Horror. It's like Amityville Horror 2.0, right? All right, so that's the first article. The second article comes from David Spinks' website. Paranormalinvestigator.com. So this is from David Spinks' actual website. So the guy that currently owns Willow's Weep, this is where we're getting the information. So this should be good. This should be quite authentic. Built in the 1800s, this haunted house is unlike anything that you will see or experience. It is built in the shape of a cross that faces east. The house sits at a crossroads and has numerous ghastly deaths that have occurred within its walls. The land itself has a definite Native American connection in that there was a major battle very near where the house sits today. Okay. So in the first article, we found out that it had Native American ties. But now we find out that there was a Native American battle that took place near the house. That's like, why do all the notifications happen when I'm doing a live video? It happens every time. I apologize. Continuing on. A Native American battle took place near the house. That's like the equivalent of a Civil War battle taking place next to the house that you now live in. And then saying like, oh, it's not haunted. Yeah, the Battle of Gettysburg happened in your backyard, and you invite your friends and family over for a barbecue, and they see a bunch of Civil War soldiers in the backyard. But you've been living there for 3 years and you've never seen anything. So I imagine this is. I won't even say their names this time. I'll be civil a little bit. This is like living in Willow's Weep, and then going in the backyard because you're having a barbecue, just like the people with the Civil War house did, and you see a Native American battle happening in your very backyard. There's little arrowheads flying everywhere, and yeah, I didn't see anything. There are ancient burial sites around the area, and two rivers cut and converge in the tiny town of Cayuga, Indiana, very near the house. I kid you not, it's very near the house. Apparently, Mr. Spinks needs to check the disclaimer on his website here. So, and so burial sites, and again, the rivers. They're really banking on the rivers, no pun intended. They really want you to know that like this house is near stuff, and you need to know. This is why it's haunted. Hey, okay, I didn't need any more convincing. I'm doing this video to convince you. A strange book was found buried between the old floor and the more modern floor during a remodel that deals in necromancy, wow, and other occult practices. So, anytime you find a creepy evil book in a creepy evil house, don't you kind of have to assume that a creepy evil person probably put it there intentionally? That's what I think. On top of all of that, a former owner declared that the house is very dangerous and she feels that it tried to kill her and her husband on numerous occasions. It doesn't say who she is, but I'm going to go off on a little bit of a whim here and say that that's the woman that sold David Spinks the house. Because, again, if you watch that documentary, this woman is like terrified of the house. And if she's acting, she's a freaking good actress. Tried to kill her and her husband on numerous occasions. How? Fearing for their lives, they moved far away from the house and sold it to the current owner, Dave Spinks. Okay, so maybe that's Adam. See, I'm confused. On one article, the last article, it said that Adam Baird and Haley Navarro, I have not forgotten their names for a freaking second. It kind of made it seem like they owned the house before David Spinks. But remember, they didn't see anything. They didn't say we didn't see anything paranormal in the house. But this article saying that they saw a bunch of crazy ass shit and they sold David Spinks the house. But I know for a fact that the old lady, so maybe it is the old lady and her husband. I don't remember if she was, I don't know. Continuing on. Still, yet numerous paranormal investigators claim to have been attacked in the house, and many have recorded EVPs heard disembodied voices, witnessed shadow figures, observed light anomalies, and recorded poltergeist activity on camera. Brother and sister that used to live in the house, I hate to rip on you again, but if you didn't see anything, you're lying. You're lying. There's numerous accounts. I mean, just look at everything I've read here. Ugh. Some people, I don't know. The ignorance of some people these days is just in stereo. Let's see. The new owner is currently conducting an over a year-long investigation with hand-picked investigators in order to try and figure out what is lurking in the house that is known as Willow's Weep. So David Spinks is concocting his own investigation. But not only that, but he's pretty much like, you know how like an episode of Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures or Paranormal Investigators or whatever it is, it's an hour long. In the specials during Halloween, you get to see their like investigation throughout the entire night. This guy is conducting a freaking year-long ghost hunting tour. I mean, year-long ghost hunting investigation of Willow's Weep. That's some serious ghost hunting investigation, if I've ever heard it. Years long. He's picking his own people. He's saying, hey, come over to my house. We're not going to be cooking burgers. We're going to be looking for ghosts. If you want to help yourself to the fridge before the ghosts do, by all means. Like he's going all out. So finally, the last thing on David Spinks' website is support the Willow's Week movie now on Indiegogo by clicking the pic below. Get perks in the process, or even be in the movie. So he's banking on it. He's totally banking on it. So I have to wonder if he's doing this because he legitimately wants to know that real evil lurks in his house, or he's like, yeah, real evil lurks in his house, and I want to make some money off of it. Because if Amityville Horror taught us anything, people lie. Stuff may or may not be evil in the house, and we can make money off of it, and you can too. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It was actually featured in an episode of The Unexplained with William Shatner on the History Channel, totally separate from what I watched. So I don't need to tell you. Do I think Do I think Willow's Weep is haunted? Yes, yes I do. It's in the shape of a backwards cross. It probably has demons crawling in it. It's probably got ghosts and spirits and everything you can think of that's haunted about it. What about you? Have the two articles that I've read convinced you that Willow's Weep is haunted? Or are you like David Baird and his good old sister Haley Navarro, and you think that it's not haunted? Or we didn't experience anything? Just read any article. Just walk in that house. Like, come on. The place is haunted. I think that's the gist of this episode. The place is freaking haunted. I was a little more animated tonight, but rightfully so. I mean, we're dealing with a demonic, evil house here, so why wouldn't I be? Um, this has been the last episode of Mystery Ghost Stories, so I do hope you enjoyed this video and the series. If you haven't watched any of the other videos, head on over to YouTube and look for the channel of mine called PlasmaticWriterTV, and then you will find Mystery Ghost Stories as well as Mystery Unsolved. This will be my last video for Mystery Ghost Stories, but it will not be the last of my series. I will be starting the Mystery Unsolved once again sometime soon, probably next month, mid next month, taking a little break. But I will return with a brand new season of Mystery Unsolved and some familiar cases and places and people that you all know very well, that you think to yourself, why haven't you done it sooner? Well, I am now. So again, this has been Willow's Weep, the season finale episode of Mystery Ghost Stories. Until next time.